You are listening to the 2.5 Weebs podcast, a show where two veteran anime fans drag a newbie down the rabbit hole of waifus, isekai, and fan service, as well as the happenings in the gaming world. Enjoy.
Everyone, welcome back to another episode of 2.5 Weebs. Hello. We are with Copper and Comfy as always. How are you guys doing today?
Not bad.
Yeah.
I'm doing.
Comfy
I'm
had a
alive.
birthday yesterday.
I did.
Happy birthday yesterday.
Everyone hates me now.
Wow. Oh, because you're 23? Yep.
Yeah, no one likes you when you're 23.
You just got to turn on the TV.
Yeah, that's
one of
about
the-
the time she walked away from me.
Yep. So.
Now
Yes.
that god awful joke is done, for hopefully the last time.
We'll see.
I mean, no.
But yeah, no, this week we were watching Seven Deadly Sins. It was a Netflix show. It's Netflix original,
It
right?
is a Netflix original.
And there's a dub. So I got to listen to it and understand what they were saying. It's in like this fantasy world where
It doesn't really touch on it in the first season, but like literally Camelot exists and all of that.
yeah, okay.
So
Yes,
it's
Camelot is a
very,
thing.
and so does literally King Arthur. Like the world is called Escanor. It is kind of Arthurian legend-esque, but it has way more anime emphasis on magic. As you can see with the holy knights that use Escanor as a person. You're right. Britannia. Oh, man, I'm a dumb. But yeah, it's very Arthurian. They have the holy knights that are knights that use magic and have like a grandmaster and all that fun stuff. And then you have these criminals, these horrible, evil people that just murder everyone. And they're the 7 deadly sins.
They were like 7 knights that betrayed the kingdom and killed
Yeah.
an
they
incredible
are-
amount
Okay,
of
so
the holy knights. And
the 7 deadly sins are all named after each one of the 7 deadly sins. That's the name.
who would have guessed?
They were actually a elite squad of knights.
Yeah.
direct counsel to the king, right?
They had direct access to the king. They reported only to the grandmaster, and they had the names
Literally-
before, like, they quote betrayed the country.
Yeah, that was
Um,
like already their nickname.
Yeah, they already called that. They already had all those aspects and all that stuff beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
And then this whole coup goes down where the 7 deadly sins are blamed for trying to take over the kingdom. The
You find
grandmaster
out
of
pretty
the
quickly that they were used as scapegoats.
yeah,
Yes.
the grandmaster of the Knights Order was murdered, and all this stuff happens, and it's all blamed on these guys, and so they disperse and go into hiding.
Yeah.
Which is kind of where our story picks up. And I do have a synopsis of the episodes as well here.
Can we just
Yeah.
point out that Tiggle is like the greatest character in any anime? Thank you.
Who was?
The knight in the first episode with the mustache who screamed conclusion every 3 seconds.
Okay. I think he got put down pretty hard though.
Yeah, but oh
That
man,
happens to
he
a lot
was
of
great
people
while
on
he
the
was
show.
alive.
I immediately thought of who's the big beefy guy from.
Armstrong.
Yeah, you knew exactly where I was going to.
I
Full
knew
Metal.
ex-
Yeah.
Armstrong also has that glorious mustache.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So would recommend.
Yeah.
I didn't just spill coffee on my crotch. Don't worry about it.
I saw that.
No, you didn't.
I definitely did.
Okay, so I'll go through the synopsis, then we can just kind of talk in generalities here.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, so a seemingly youthful owner of the Boar Hat Tavern and his talking pig Hawk encounter a rust-covered knight that drives away their customers, who is assumed the figure to be one of the 70 deadly sins. The knight is revealed, in fact, to be a young woman named Elizabeth, who is seeking the 7 deadly sins, the strongest of Leon's kingdom's holy knight orders that have been branded as wanted criminals for supposedly betraying the kingdom 10 years before. The tavern helps Elizabeth evade the Holy Knight unit known as Beard of the Mountain Cat, and learns that the Holy Knights staged a coup d'etat and took over the country. The unit's leader, Twigo, confirms Elizabeth to be Leon's third princess, while the tavern owner introduces himself as Meliodas, the Seven Deadly Sins captain and bearer of the Sin of Wrath. He quickly defeats Twigo before he and Elizabeth escape on Hawk's mother, who is
Just
has
a
the tavern
massive pig.
on her back.
Yes.
Yeah, a giant, absolutely massive pig who carries the tavern on her back.
Like a 5-story building tall pig.
Oh, it's
that just-
insane.
Like the pig is a kaiju, like straight up.
Yeah.
Yeah, a green pig, by the way, because we care about the planet. This is the green movement.
Uh-huh.
Episode 2, we have Meliodas agrees to help Elizabeth since he is looking for the other deadly sins, giving her a new outfit to work as a tavern maid for their travels. The group soon set shop in Bunir village, which is famous for its ale, learning that a holy knight planted his sword to magically cut off the water supply in response to a boy named Mead taking offense to the knight disrespecting the villagers. Despite the villagers' futile efforts, Meliodas easily removes the sword, as only a holy knight can, and is hailed as a hero as the villagers celebrate in Borhat. At Fort Sorgels, holy knights inform their leader Gilthunder of his sword's removal. Gilthunder throws a spear imbued with his powers to determine if it is Meliodas, receiving his confirmation when he senses the spear and redirects it at the fortress, as it was nearly destroyed and missed Gilthunder's head by centimeters. Meliodas decides to leave Bernia and head towards the Forest of White Dreams, assuming one of his comrades is hiding there. And episode 3, Meliodas' group arrives in the forest, a foggy, dense forest where even holy knights avoid. They encounter prankster imps that attempt to confuse travelers by creating copies of their companions, forcing imps to flee towards a sleeping giantess they wake up. Meliodas reveals the giant to be Diane, the Seven Deadly Sins member who possesses the serpent sin of envy, who briefly pummeled her captain in a jealous rage upon seeing Elizabeth. The surprise reunion is cut short when Gilthunder arrives, Elizabeth recognizing him as her childhood friend before learning of his actions in Bernay village. Gilthunder explains that he seeks to avenge his father, Holy Knight's Grand Master, Zaratas, whom the Seven Deadly Sins were said to have murdered. Meliodas explaining what happened from what he could remember, but Gilthunder refuses to listen as he and Meliodas manage to inflict a mortal injury on him, only to be tricked into revealing their whereabouts of the Seven Deadly Sin members bearing the sin of greed and sloth, with the latter said to be dead. And that is our first 3 episodes. So this is a longer form anime based on the fact that there's a few seasons.
Yes. What does annoy me is Netflix marks the second season as the third season, and there's basically 4 OVAs.
Yes.
That they mark as the second season. So it did hurt my soul a little bit. I also stopped watching the OVAs because I was not that invested, but the show does I think it gets a lot better as it progresses too.
It does, yeah.
It's one of the shows, like, I watched most of season 2.
Okay.
I've watched all season 1 and 2. I think it's 3 I'm on. No, I haven't gone to 3 yet, I don't think, so.
3, quote unquote, isn't out yet, I thought.
I don't know if it's out on Netflix.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
So this is one of the Netflix, quote, produced shows where technically they didn't produce the show.
They just bought all the rights to it.
Yeah.
And then they do distribution. So
yes.
Cool.
And so Netflix is able to put it out faster in Japan because that's a thing than in the US. But in the US, we get the binge bundles. So when the full season comes out, we just get all of it at the same time.
Right.
Yes.
So Dale, were you a big fan of the main character and how he's totally not a pervert in any way whatsoever?
I overall enjoy the character, but he does, but she doesn't seem to care. So it's like, I don't know. He like blatantly just gropes the princess. Just
A lot.
He just does it.
A
and
lot.
It's like it's literally as soon as he meets her, he's like, oh, boob. like literally, and he does it several times, and he like steals her panties at one. That there was a reason for that, actually. But
are you sure there was a reason for that?
There ended up being a reason for that. He could have done
Maybe
something.
it was just a happy accident and it worked out well.
Maybe that could also be it. But anyway, like I thought it was interesting. Mostly, like I overall was enjoying it. Like the fight scenes are pretty cool. Just like, I don't know, visually, I like it. It's
really well animated.
Yeah.
And it gets
Yes.
in the second season. It gets a lot more in depth with the characters as well.
I enjoyed the world that they made.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool. I don't know. I could see myself watching more of it, but at the same time, I don't know. Maybe.
this kind of made me want to go and like finish rewatching it because I know where I'm at in the show and I know where all the characters are where I'm at.
Right.
And I was like, oh, that person starts out completely different. Oh, this person is wow. Because I
Yeah.
don't want to spoil what happens to certain people, but like it's weird seeing that from the very beginning because I haven't watched from the beginning in a long time. And
Right.
we didn't even get my favorite character introduced, so feels bad. Mine traditionally, as is with every show that has some stupid characters named after the 7 deadly sins, Greed is my favorite character.
Got it. You greedy son of a bitch.
That was a Full Metal Alchemist jab.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, he's an interesting character.
I just I think it's hilarious how this like super badass knight, like after he discovers this, I guess he doesn't discover some weird conspiracy. After everything happens and he just decides to live on his own and he's just like, I'm gonna open up a tavern. Just travels around. Very popular tavern. There's really good drinks, but he is a terrible fucking cook. Like, actually, people spit out the food because it's so terrible.
They either spit it out or throw it up. So
It's just kind of like, yeah, people just get drunk here. We don't eat food. What are you talking about?
dang it, I like bar food too.
Usually bar food's pretty good, but like
It depends on the bar.
that's true.
And
As with
definitely
everything
does.
ever. That's same
Very
as,
much depends on the cook. So
same
it is
with every restaurant ever. Yeah.
it's a running thing that Meliodas cannot cook for the life of him.
Right.
So that's where that comes from. There are people like that who, if you put them in a kitchen, they will produce poison.
Yeah, like me.
Yeah,
No, I'm not. I'm actually a decent cook when I try.
I was lucky enough that my dad decided to be like, you're gonna learn how to cook and you're gonna learn how spices work,
Hmm.
so I can actually throw together something if I need to.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God. Otherwise, I'd probably starve to death. I'd barely eat as it is.
Right.
Yeah, I
think
think I'm probably gonna continue watching it again just because.
Yeah, this is very much a show I'm going to continue with because there is new episodes I haven't seen.
Now,
There's
this was
also
the first time you've seen it, Hopper.
no, I've seen this
Okay.
before. So I've watched this before, but I haven't caught up on the newest stuff that's out. And I
Right.
think there's a movie that I still need to watch as well because there is, I think, 1 or 2 movies for the
Are they
show.
Netflix produced?
I think one of them is on Netflix. I
There
think
is one movie. Is
Yeah.
what I am being told in my ear.
Yeah, I think it's on. Well, okay, let me restate this. I think it's on Canadian Netflix. I don't know about your guys's. Like for example,
Oh no, it is. I've definitely seen it.
Twitter went wild the other day because The Last Airbender just popped up on your guys' Netflix, where it's been on ours for a while, like
Yeah.
a long while. So
U.S. streaming rights are really weird. Because there are so many other countries that have better like deals and stuff, but in the U.S. so many streaming rights are just bizarre. which is weird to me, especially because most of the production companies that sell the streaming rights are US based.
Yes.
But like Netflix in other countries gets way more than they do in the US.
Mm-hmm.
I guess part of that is because a lot of TV companies they basically want to push their own shows on their own websites, and everybody's trying to start their own streaming services. So for the longest time, Avatar was only available on the Nickelodeon website. Like to the point that the sequel series of Avatar was the last couple seasons were only put up on the website. It wasn't even aired on TV. Or like the last season specifically, I believe. But finally, like Netflix is getting everything, which is very helpful to everyone because Avatar's been off of every streaming service in the US for a little while, and I'm glad that it's back.
I think I should watch that.
Have you never seen it?
I've seen parts of it, but I've never seen the whole thing.
It starts off very kid show.
Okay, yeah, it does. Okay, so you're gonna hate some of the characters in the first few episodes.
Okay.
I think the first 3 episodes is the worst representation of the show. The last 4 is the perfect.
Yes. So the characters in Avatar: The Last Airbender, they're kids. They start off as kids,
Right.
and they act like children. When this
The
show
main
first starts,
character
they
is 12. He acts 12.
Right.
Yes. So they can be very annoying, but then they start traveling because they need to travel for reasons that are plot related.
Right.
And the thing about travel is a very broadening experience and very maturing experience pretty quickly. So they mature pretty fast and come to terms with what's going on in the world, the fact that they need to be more mature, and they're dealing with some very heavy stuff. So they mature very quickly, and
Okay.
you'll stop hating them pretty quick. It's just
Why do I always have to hate characters to begin with?
it's
Because
well,
you need,
I
you need
hate
a
it.
character to develop.
yes, these characters are written
Listen,
from a perspective of
I'm so sick of having to sit through the stories to get good when I just think they're fucking terrible to start with.
Well, it's not they're not
exhausting,
terrible to start
man.
with. It's just the fact that you're starting a show that you're dealing with children who act like children to begin with, right? And that can annoy people.
the 3rd episode has Aang throwing a tantrum so hard he almost rips a temple apart. Like,
Yes.
this is literally something that happens. He's not in check with his emotions. He's a child. And granted, he's actually 112, but memes.
But yeah, he's technically 112, technically.
But
But he
100
spent
of those years
most.
don't count.
Yeah, he spent most of that time unconscious.
Yeah.
So it's children acting like children is how the show starts. It's just something you kind of need to be aware of when you go into the show. It's not like they're
the
older
greatest-
people who are acting immature. It's 12-year-olds acting like 12-year-olds.
Well, it's like
Right.
the main characters are you have a 12-year-old who is just completely aloof and unaware of everything and can't take it seriously, and he has to grow up to take it seriously. You have a 14-year-old who she's just trying to take control of the situation because she's the only one who takes things seriously. You have a 15-year-old asshole who's running around throwing boomerangs because he thinks he's funny and trying to pick up girls.
Mm-hmm.
You have a 16-year-old angst lord who's running around trying to restore his honor because he needs to bring the avatar to his father.
And the only thing he cares about is his honor. So
It
it is a good show. It is really good show. If you can get past the fact that it starts off with a couple of 12-year-olds acting like 12-year-olds, because that is a sticking point where I know some people who won't watch a show like that. If that doesn't bother you, you'll probably like the show.
When
As
I
a-
rewatch the show, I start at the Northern Water Temple.
Okay. Yeah, that's also a thing to do, because that's where things get serious,
honestly
and
where it starts being good.
that is where it starts being super, super, super good. So
Because that's when you start getting like cultural development and character development and world development, and it's not just as plain and black and white as it was before, which is so much nicer. And then also, people don't talk about it nearly as much because it's not as good, but Legend of Korra was also really good.
it was
The second season was
parts.
the second
The
season was a
second
bit
season,
iffy, but
the second season was a season, and the ending of Legend of Korra is an ending, and I can see why the show
People didn't
creators
like it.
were told, no, you can't do that. And it's not because of the whole like issue I don't want to get into that people were screaming about. It's because it doesn't make sense in terms of characters, character development, and the show.
It doesn't make sense because they didn't build to it at all.
Correct. Which is why it doesn't make sense in terms of character development and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, Dale, you don't know. At the end of that show, they shoehorn in a romance. Like, in an episode, they shoehorn in this romance saying, oh, these two characters have loved each other all along from the very beginning, since they basically first met, which makes no sense in context of the whole show, because they were both shown to be in love with somebody else during this whole time period.
The same person, I might add.
Yes. One of them is shown to be still in love with that person, like the episode before, basically. And then they're like, oh no, this is how it actually is. And then they're like, and so they go off together. And that's like the ending. And it's like, that makes no sense. And then basically the TV station that was on told them, you can't do that. It doesn't make sense. And so they got mad and then left and then produced the thing on their own.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of fans were mad because they're like, this doesn't make sense. What is going on here? And then you had a bunch of other people defending it because of the nature of the relationship. So like, oh no, they're doing this. And, you know, like you're making excuses trying to shoehorn this in. That's not how that goes.
I didn't hate the idea of the relationship, but
I didn't if they didn't build to it.
My head, like
if they didn't build any to it. They're like, well, they sent a letter. It's like, so someone sent a letter to a sick friend and you think that equals this? Like, that's not how that works.
It was kind of wild, just because they just kind of like left it at the end. They were like, all right, there you go. And that's like the ending screen. It's like, wait, what? Like, that's cool. I'm all for it, but we need a little more development than just that.
Yeah, it made no sense. It was...
But I do love,
it wasn't good.
absolutely love the world progression from Last Airbender to Legend of Korra, because you have Last Airbender in what is essentially primitive tribal nations that are, you have a Japanese nation, a Chinese nation, a Korean nation, essentially a nomadic nation, an Inuit nation. Like you have these groups based on different people, and then in the series following it, which is like 70 years in the future, you can tell that the world has evolved because all of a sudden it's just steampunk.
Yes.
So...
Yeah, they advanced the technology pretty rapidly. Which, I mean, it was on the verge of doing that in The Last Airbender. Like in that one, they're kind of right at the step of right before the Industrial Revolution. Except you're dealing with an industrial revolution where certain forms of magic are real, and so it's incorporated into the technology.
Yeah,
which you get to see during The Last Airbender as well. So it's interesting how that works.
One of my favorite things is in The Last Airbender, there's a lot of developments of new types of bending.
Yes,
because
or the discovery of older types or rarer stuff.
Yeah, or like the extension of stuff. So, because like firebenders can bend lightning, which that one's the only one I'm going to talk about because it's not a spoiler really. But there's other ones like a character figures out that they can bend this type of material, and they're the only person that can do it. And then in Legend of Korra, everyone's doing it, and it's become a central part of society.
Yes, there are a class of people who can do that type of bending.
Yeah,
exists now.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, and in fact, they've actually formed their own like city-state. Like it's stuff like that, right? Like it's
they are the police. Like they're like the FBI essentially, because they're the people who can properly control the city that they're in because of the skills that they have. Like it's worlds upon worlds. They just keep developing it. Like it's such a well done series. Man, if only it was an anime.
Yeah, The Last Airbender is not actually an anime.
Wait, so here's a question. Is Castlevania an anime?
No. Remember we
did cover Castlevania though. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but the reason I ask is because God, I don't remember how long ago Avatar came out. Like more than 10 years ago.
It's been a while.
Yeah. It's like when Avatar came out, there was this huge argument of is it not? The winning side of the argument was it's not, because it's not produced in Japan. It's made by an American crew. It is Japanese inspired, but it's not an anime. But then recently there's been this huge rediscussion because of Castlevania. Like, because Castlevania came out, people have been like, well, wait, Castlevania is way closer to an anime. Is that an anime? And I've seen some really interesting arguments for it. So I was just curious if your guys' opinions had shifted at all, considering where we're at in that sense.
No, it's very much still technically not. I mean, the other thing is that I don't care. Like, I don't care if something is an anime or not, right? It's
yeah, I want to point out, like, I don't particularly care. I'm just interested in your guys' views and opinions. I think that the argument of you can't like it because of XYZ or whatever is stupid.
I don't care. Like, who cares? It's just, it doesn't matter to me.
Watch what you like.
Some people are dumb.
Yeah, pretty much. It's if you like the show, watch the show, right? If you're not sure if you'd like a show, give it a try. I mean, all you're gonna lose is a small bit of time.
Like, yeah, what's the worst thing you're gonna lose? 20 minutes?
Yeah, in case of an anime show or an animated show in general, you're gonna lose maybe 20 minutes. Like, that's it. Like, that's the whole amount you lose. I mean, it's not that bad in terms of overarching stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, plus you can probably spare, that much time. It's not well.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, you may have to pay attention a bit more.
Right.
Than,
that's
say if you're watching something that's not in English, you may have to pay attention a bit more because the fact that you have to read a bit, but yeah.
That's the thing that's killing me, because I really, really need to watch Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah. You do.
I've been told by a lot of people that I specifically need to watch Hunter x Hunter. And I don't really want to watch it dubbed. And that means that I'm going to have to watch a couple hundred episodes of a subbed show, which means I'm going to have to pay very close attention.
Have fun. What's wrong with the dub? Is that have like a...
The dub, I don't know. So the show is older. So the thing when you start watching older dub material is that you run into some of the voice acting
dub
norms
is not bad. Okay.
From back then.
Got it.
Which can be like, this character has a super annoying voice for American audiences for no discernible reason, because they don't in the original version, right? They talk normal. Stuff like that. Which I don't know why they do, but it was a thing during like the 90s and early 2000s that's the thing that companies did when they dub stuff, is they're like, well, this person's supposed to be sarcastic and funny, so we'll give them a wacky voice. And they didn't have a wacky voice before, and so it kind of ruins some of the delivery and the sarcasm and stuff like that. And instead you get a super annoying character.
So one of my favorite examples of that is so there is an anime. I have not watched it, so don't think I'm that guy. There's an anime called Squid Girl.
Okay.
It is about a little girl who is part squid and she wants to take over the world, and it's apparently super cute and whatever. But one of the like auxiliary characters, in the Japanese version, she would just randomly start speaking English. But you can't translate that for English audiences. So what they did instead of having her randomly speak another language is she just randomly speaks in a country accent. Like
that's
deep
not even
south.
That's not even the same.
No, and so the problem that's really underlying there is that she speaks in this deep south accent, and all the other characters are acting like they have no idea what she's saying because she's supposed to be speaking a foreign language.
Right.
But she's just talking in a weird accent and being like, okay. and everybody's like, "Oh man, I have no idea what you're saying all of the sudden because now it sounds like we're in Popeyes." So like, it is
It's a thing.
there's some weird stuff they decide to do with dubs, and I don't know why.
Right.
And then there's our favorite dubbed anime ghost stories, which we don't talk about.
Right. Never seen it. I've heard the stories about how ridiculous it is.
That's why.
So yeah, I guess.
This is a show I'd recommend people give a shot. It's pretty easy for most people to access since it's on Netflix.
Back to Seven Deadly Sins. Like I for the most part enjoyed it. So yeah, I recommend it.
And it's not plagued with those standard anime tropes either, right? It's very differently written from that regard. So, which is nice to see.
Right.
So I mean, if that's something that turns you off, you're not going to find it here. So give it a shot. It's an interesting anime. It's an interesting, unique story.
The world's cool.
Characters are. The world is very interesting.
I honestly believe that the show gets good when they start bringing in the backstory of the characters.
Yes.
Because, like Bon, for example, Greed is just kind of an asshole to everybody, and he's like a very stereotypical like character. But then he has like an actual really compelling backstory that's really interesting.
Yeah, they spent a lot of time on not only like the story itself, but developing how the characters are and how their backstories are and how that works into things, which you get to see more and more and more of as the show progresses.
Right.
Season 2 is kind of the like split up and follow around different characters to get backstory season. Because like Diane goes back to the other giants or whatever. Meliodas, he's talking to like I haven't finished it, so I don't know all of Meliodas' stuff, but it's very clear what they're leaning towards where I'm at. I'm like halfway through.
His is interesting.
Yeah, well, I've met the Ten Commandments, so
the what?
And we've talked.
You will meet them if you stick with the show. You'll meet them later. They're a group of people who come in later episodes.
They're at season 2. Like,
I mean,
group.
it's not surprising that we have main characters who are named after Seven Deadly Sins, that they brought in characters called the Ten Commandments.
Right. Is this still an ongoing show or?
Yes.
Okay.
This is still an ongoing. It's so rather than be like a constantly ongoing show, like say Naruto or One Piece, right? Especially One Piece. The show is actually produced in seasons. There's just been a new season.
Yeah, it's a running seasonal show, which it's like My Hero or stuff like that, where they could be doing a weekly show, but it's better for the quality of the show if they just take breaks between seasons and make something better.
Sure.
Yep.
So they definitely could be doing full just forever, but I also don't think Netflix would push for that at all.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like something they'd want to do. And also then we'd have a lot of filler arcs, which nobody likes.
Yeah.
Everybody's favorite thing, filler arcs.
People hate those. So, no one wants a stopgap episode in their favorite show. So, but yeah, so definitely a recommend for me. It's an interesting show. I think people will enjoy it. And it's, as I said, easy to access to give a shot because it's not like you have to have a subscription here or try to find it somewhere. It's just on Netflix, right? So,
and most people either have Netflix or access to their friend's Netflix account. So
Right.
It's one of the more accessible shows. I recommend it, having watched halfway through season 2.
Yeah.
So I can't say it ends good, but I can say that where I'm at, it's interesting, and this actually kicked me in the pants, and now I want to go keep watching it. So
cool.
Listen, I saw Gilf Thunder doing some crazy shit, and I wanted to see him in the modern.
Yeah, the characters with their powers are pretty too. All the different powers these knights have, and develop stuff. So,
And you don't even see Meliodas do anything until like season 2.
he doesn't really do a lot until. Well, he does stuff at the end of season.
You're
1.
right.
There's a lot of him doing stuff then, but there's a lot of like him being implied being super powerful, but them not showing it, type of thing.
Right.
Yeah, like I mean, when he's fighting Tiggle in like the first episode, he literally just makes a motion, and then Tiggle's like, conclusion, I lose. Like he just completely destroys him with his mind, essentially. So
it's just he's above people to the point where it's
he's got like the One Punch Man level powers.
That type of thing. Like he's not being challenged by these people who are lower than him, so he's not overusing and obliterating them completely. He's not that type of character. He's not. There's another character you meet later on, the Sin of Pride, who 100% does that. Like if you challenge him, he comes at you full on and obliterates anything in his past because he is the best, and that's how he sees it. Because that's his sin, pride.
No, he's rap.
Whereas the Lion Sin of Pride?
Oh, I'm sorry. Who are we talking about?
Escanor.
Oh, okay, yeah. Escanor's Pride. You're right. I thought
Pride.
we were
He's also and he's also the most powerful of the 7 deadly sins as well.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't get to meet him anytime soon.
No, I have not even. So, because I am behind.
Yep.
But I'm getting there. I have met everybody except him.
Yes. Yeah, he's the last one you meet.
Mm-hmm.
He's an interesting character on how he functions. But yeah, other than that, I haven't been up to a lot this week. Work. I blame Paul.
I have been having technical difficulties and then fixing them and then having more technical difficulties.
That's always fun.
It's very fun. I have my entire desk clean now. It's great. Because the back half of my desk was just covered was just covered in like books and pens and stuff that like my mom had left, and I was like, I will clean it up, I will put it wherever, just give me a place. And she's like, no, I gotta do it. And I told her, like, for my birthday, can you please just like clean up the back half of my desk? And she did. And while she was doing it, she called me, she's like, Nate, is this box of crayons yours? To which I said, no, yes and no, I needed it to prove a point. It was the box of crayons that I was eating during Guardian games.
What flavor crayons?
I like the purple ones.
Okay. The grape flavor. Wonderful.
That is a joke from Sword Art Abridged. Episode 4, the best episode. What a gem.
Let's see what else we have. There's actually been a couple announcements game-wise this week.
Crucible comes out this week.
Crucible's coming out. It's a free-to-play game. It
Grand Theft
looks
Auto
kind of
5
interesting.
Grand Theft Auto 5 is free on Epic if you don't already own it.
Yep.
And if you do already own it, get an alt account.
We have a new Paper Mario coming out.
Yes! Oh my gosh. I'm so excited about that.
Anybody was expecting.
No. Dude, okay.
And then
Nintendo dropped a Paper Mario announcement on a Thursday morning in May.
Yeah, and it's coming out like next month.
In June.
Yeah.
Cool.
Paper Mario is one of, at least I see online, one of the most requested series to get continuations.
Yes,
because it is a Mario series that is extremely unique and fun with cool mechanics. And people have been constantly pushing to get another one like on console, because we had one on GameCube and one on 3DS, I want to say, or was it on Wii?
Couldn't tell you.
I think there was one on the Wii. Yeah, there was one on the Wii. I think that's the last one we got on a major system, which is a while ago now.
Exactly. So people have been wanting this for a while, and for them to announce it, just randomly throwing it out there, like, "Hey guys, by the way, it's coming out." That's crazy. That's awesome. And I'm amazed I'm absolutely excited. I'm gonna play it when it comes out for sure. We got some Ghost of Tsushima stuff as well.
Oh,
Yes, and
yeah.
that was the other thing is we have Ghost of Tsushima announcement, and it's coming. We got footage, and it's coming out I think the same day as Paper Mario.
It is, or
is
like a
interesting.
day off.
Yes, something like that.
It might be a day off. Or no,
I've seen a little bit of like the gameplay trailers and shit, and I'm just like not at all interested.
If you like the Assassin's Creed Odyssey or Origins, you're probably gonna like Ghost, because it basically looks like it is a Assassin's Creed game set in Japan, like feudal Japan, except the one giant benefit is that there's no super goddamn
convoluted storyline that they have to try to stick to.
from the there's no stupid modern shit they try to shoehorn into the game. Like I'm playing
do
through
they
Odyssey
still do
right
that
now.
in Assassin's
They
Creed?
do. I am playing Odyssey right now, and it starts up. You go in. It's like, oh, you enter the Animus. Here's pick your person to follow in history, and then it's like, I'm going through. It's great, enjoying it, and great. And I get to this one point in the story, and they're like, okay, we're pulling you out of the story now. Here, go back to modern times and walk around this apartment for.
So infuriating.
I hate it.
It's like there's nothing to do in that apartment. You can like literally just turn right the fuck back around and talk to the click on the Animus again to go back into it. It makes no goddamn sense. There's nothing worth it in the modern segments. I fucking hate them.
There was ever since Revelations, modern segments have just been garbage.
Yes.
I say that because I did not play Assassin's Creed 1 because it is not a good game. It is very dated. It was much more of a proof of concept. Assassin's Creed 2, the modern stuff was actually interesting because they had you do actual missions. Like, it wasn't just walk around this area. You had to sneak out of Abstergo. You had to actually do platforming and stuff. Like, that was really cool. Brotherhood just gave you an entire open world playground with the estate to run around in modern times, and you got to see an evolved version of the estate and find collectibles and stuff.
Yep.
I don't even remember what Revelations did, but I didn't hate it. And at the end of the day, we got the end of Ezio's story, which was amazing. 3, I just remember being something.
I did not. I remember 4's just I would get mad every time they'd pull me out of that. I'd be like, fuck off! I want to go back to being a pirate. This is some bullshit.
Yeah,
it's the most fun game, and then they pull you out to a story that is not relevant in any way. It doesn't even come around at the end. Like,
it is.
It has some like the side characters in it, but it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, I have not enjoyed the fact of that they yanked me out of that. That's the only time it's happened so far in my playthrough is they yanked me out the one time. But it's awful. Like, it is the worst part of that series. If they made an Assassin's Creed game, it's like, here's following the assassins through history, I would be cool with this. I think everybody would be too, because no one gives a shit about the future stuff.
Yeah,
Nobody does.
It drags you down into a point of not having fun faster than an underwater level, or a forced stealth mission in a not stealth game.
Yeah, it is.
Yes. Oh my God. No, those are.
It is really, really awful. Like, it
fucking
is
terrible. It's garbage, and I hate it.
Like, and I don't know why.
They are better in Odyssey after the first, is what I see. I still don't like them.
Yeah, here's the thing. I don't care. I don't want to play them.
Yeah, I don't care.
Here's the thing. The modern day story, like, it just, ever since Desmond died, it hasn't been relevant.
Like,
hey, by the way, Desmond dies in Assassin's Creed 3.
Wow.
Like,
spoilers. I never played it. I'm never going to.
It's like, it doesn't, like, they don't matter. Like,
that story doesn't even matter because that's not the character that matters. You care more about Connor, and I hate Connor.
Like, when you're playing, like, Origins, for example, and you're exploring what's supposed to be like the first assassin story. When they pull you out, they're like, oh no, these people have found you. Like, and you have to use the skills you've learned to, go through and eliminate them. It's like, except it doesn't feel the same. Your character does not move the same. You don't have the same abilities or anything like that. So it's like, and you can't go on and like, you feel super crippled, super slow. It's super boring. it makes no relevant sense because if you've never played the other Assassin's Creed games, it's not like they start you off and explain shit what the fuck's going on, because they don't. So if
Yeah.
this is like your first pickup game, they don't explain shit like for the future stuff. So it's even worse because it's not like it doesn't feel like you're playing the same game. It has no connected story, and they don't explain anything to people who are new to the series.
Yeah, so they're just like, wait, what the fuck? What is happening? Why am I?
Like, why do I have to go back and do this stuff? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
It's that type of thing. And it's like, oh.
And my big thing is like Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag. My favorite one is the one I recommend to people. If you have not played the first the first 5 games, or you don't know who like those characters are, the Out of Animus experience is garbage because there is no story. There's nothing connected. All they say is, "Oh yes, we got blood samples from a very kind donor named Desmond." And then like you talk to the characters from the previous games who are clearly sneaking into Abstergo, but you don't know that if you haven't played the other games, and they don't explain it and they don't do anything.
Yep.
Right.
It's really, really bad. It's like
That being said, Assassin's Creed, really fun series.
Yeah, so Odyssey and Origins, super good. You know, if you are looking for a good game to play, they are 100% it. They are great, fun, interesting games that have great characters and interesting story, except for the future bit. And the only good thing I can say about the future bit is that a lot of them you can skip and just kind of go right back into the Animus and ignore it. So, which is not something you should be saying about a game's gameplay.
My favorite part is you can skip it. Yeah. You know what? But you know what else happened this week that I've definitely talked to death already?
What's that?
The Lie.
A lie? Oh,
the other
Destiny
the
thing?
other thing
I
was,
have.
gaming-wise was UE5.
Oh my god, right? Holy crap. Oh my god, dude. Unreal Engine 5 looks insane. If anybody has
That's a
watched
hard
the
one to
demo-
skip. Like,
Oh, I can't believe I forgot about that.
Yeah, would be cool.
Did you watch the demo?
I've seen parts of it.
Okay, so the things that really stick out, they didn't bake textures. That's insane.
yeah,
That's holy crap.
Zod, Comfy's too young for the Tony Hawk game.
Tug is literally one of my favorite games of all time. Shut your mouth.
they also straight imported stuff from ZBrush.
Wait, what did you say it was? Tug?
Thug, Tony Hawk's Underground.
Oh, well, that's not 1 and 2 though. But it does. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I was just making a joke.
I had an Xbox. 1 and 2 weren't on Xbox.
Right. No,
Yeah.
They were on PlayStation 1.
Yep.
Which was before the Xbox came out. I believe Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 was on the Xbox.
Yeah.
I don't think the first 2 were.
Right.
But yeah, no, they imported things straight from ZBrush. They had over 1 billion triangles. Dude, my computer crashes with a couple hundred. Like, holy crap.
Yeah, they had billions of triangles on there, which is insane. And the thing is, it's not like this was it's running on a high-end PC. This was running on a PS5 dev kit. It looks amazing on a PS5. So I can only imagine what it's going to look like on, a PC.
And they were playing at 30 frames per second, but like, guys, like we get it that they were playing at 30 instead of 60. It was to show off the visuals, not to show off the frame rate.
Yeah.
This is our engine, and this is the concept of the engine and how much we can do with it. And they can do a lot. Guys, I want you to realize you do not use cinematic scans unless you have an entire render farm for your scene. Like, that's not something you do. And they did it in a game. You don't import straight from ZBrush unless you have a render farm. Like, this stuff is insane.
Yeah, doing it the way they did it is mind-boggling. You would do it that way. Like, it's makes
mind-boggling that they can.
Yes, the fact that it works, and it works and they can do things like moving the light source dynamically and the water reflections, and the fact you can do like everything they showed off in that thing is amazing. And I think in the
marvel.
The next generation of games, we're going to see the difference between people who are using this engine and people who are using other engines because they're the in-house engine, and it's going to show, and it's going to show badly for those other people.
And Epic killed it with Unreal 4 too. I feel like it came out yesterday almost. And games that are in Unreal 4 are gorgeous. Look at Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, Unreal Engine 4.
Yeah.
And you can definitely tell at some points that they used some pre-made assets for it, but even then, the game looks fantastic. And it runs super well on all of these different platforms. And even, love it or hate it, Fortnite looks gorgeous. Like,
yeah, as much as people
technological standpoint.
Yeah, if you don't like the game, that's cool. You're not a fan of the graphic style, also cool.
Right.
But it doesn't look bad for what they were trying to go for look-wise, right? There's no jagged edges. There's no like bad textures or that type of stuff. Like it's.
And granted, Fortnite is Epic's baby, and they will do everything they can to protect it and make it good. So they put a little more effort into that, but still, like, that's insane. That is. I am so excited for the future and what they can do with just this engine, because this is our first actual look at next gen. Honestly,
I would very much like to see something like Destiny in this engine. I
would love for Destiny to have a different engine,
because it would look better. For one, it would definitely look better. Because I don't think there's a game out there that wouldn't look better in this engine.
Yeah.
But I also think it would be easier for them to design stuff for the game than their own engine, because we know it has problems. I would love to see things like Anthem use this engine. I would love to see if it makes, if it does actually make a comeback. I'd like to see the new Dragon Age use this, because I'm pretty sure they're stuck with the same engine that Anthem was using.
Yes, they are. Actually, speaking of Anthem, we did actually get an update on Anthem this week.
Did we?
Yes. So the head designer at BioWare Austin basically said, "Hey guys, we just want to give you an update on like what's going on. We're currently working on it. We don't know how far out it's going to be." It was very much like, we don't know how long it's going to take or what it's going to be, but we're working on it right now, and this is our first line of open communication.
So it was a non-update update. Essentially,
it was this is how we're going to talk to you update.
Yes, which considering that we've had no communication from them since the announcement of we're reworking Anthem, I will gladly take we're going to start opening a line of communication.
Somebody's going to pull the plug at EA. I just expect it.
I think that they've sunk too much into it. They're not going to toss it.
Yeah, I think at this point they're past the point of they can feasibly write it off.
They're at sunk cost. They spent 7 years failing to develop a game that launched poorly. They have a million assets that are so good. They have an awesome base game, but they just, tripped over a daisy when they were developing it and forgot how to make the game.
Awesome base game. They got a good, fun gameplay with a lot of work to do.
They have
I meant good gameplay as a base.
Right.
Yeah, they have a good base to a game. They are missing content for that base.
They literally have great characters. They have an interesting world.
Yeah,
they have fun gameplay. They have
the movement in the game was amazing.
Right.
Like the movement in that game is great. There's a lot to build upon. It's just they didn't.
Sure, no, there definitely is. I just
it's just that game. That game needed another probably
2 years,
a year minimum. Or 2 years at most development for content to go along with it. They didn't get that.
I remember like playing the beta to Anthem and just getting lost and loving it. I remember it came out and it was great until we got about 10 hours in and the game was like, hey, what would be really cool is if in the story mode you had to go and grind for 4 hours.
Yeah, it's
like there's so many boneheaded decisions that they made in the game that I can't even begin to think about possibly justifying. It's crazy to me.
There are a lot of management mistakes with that game.
And BioWare has been very open about, guys, we just wanted to make our game.
Yeah.
They added and removed flight 3 times. It took them 4 or 5 years to get the engine to let them go in third-person mode.
Yes. So part of the hampering they had was the fact they were basically told, here, use this engine. You can only use this engine because it is our in-house engine.
It's EA's Frostbite engine, if anybody doesn't know what engine we're...
So the CEO of EA basically told pretty much every game and department that they have to use the Frostbite engine, no matter what. The only exception to that was
Respawn.
And everybody else was stuck using it. So the main problem with Frostbite is not designed to do anything that isn't first-person shooter.
It does first-person shooters really well, but
it does.
That's it.
Because that's what it was.
Battlefield is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Because that's what it was developed for. It was developed to do this and only this, and they sacrificed. The reason it looks so good is that they put nothing else into it. They just focused on those aspects for that engine they needed to run an FPS game, which is a smart decision if you're only using this engine for that thing.
Right.
So they sunk all this money into it. It looks amazing, like flat out amazing when you're playing a first-person game like Battlefield. And then to use it on something like Anthem or the upcoming Dragon Age game, because they were told to use it as well, there's no tools in the engine to build things that you need for an RPG, which is a problem when you're designing a game that's an RPG. So, they were kind of stuck with, like, how do we do this when we don't have the ability to do this? Like, what do we do?
Yeah, it has been so messy, and it's funny too because like Respawn is using Source engine still. Like they don't even have access to Source 2 yet. Like Apex Legends is running on some weird quote Frankenstein Source engine because they devved it for Titanfall and just kept updating it, and it kept working. So it's also just a lightweight engine that's super easy to use.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
the same
so that's
engine that Half-Life 2 uses. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, it's not good. Like it's a big hampering. So I kind of hope that a lot of companies shift away from those engines that aren't great and start using Unreal. And like I get why he didn't want to do it. Like he didn't want the licensing fee and whatnot.
Oh, you listen.
But
If Frostbite worked well for third-party stuff, they would have saved millions in licensing.
Yep.
But the problem is, like realistically, it probably cost them a lot more to dev Anthem in that engine.
Oh, for sure. No doubt in my mind, it cost them more money overall to dev it the way they devved it than what they would have spent on licensing fees, especially now because Epic has actually reduced the licensing fees for UE5.
UE5, for the first $1 million in sales, you do not have to pay royalties on it.
Yeah.
That is insane. That is a free license to dev for every indie developer out there, pretty much.
Yeah, that's unless you, what was it, 1 million copies or $1 million?
$1 million. So you have to make more than $1 million before they will actually start charging you a license.
Well,
and then they start charging you royalties on it, which is not even bad.
Yep.
Like, unbelievable.
I mean, it's like it's a huge amount. Like that's a giant amount of
90% of games will never even make $1,000 in sales. Not to mention that, and not having to pay an upfront licensing fee. Like, listen, I know everybody loves to like shit on Epic because Fortnite bad, but Epic is one of the most indie dev and game dev friendly companies out there.
They've done so much for the, I don't care what a lot of people say, they've done so much for the community in the last few years.
Dude, have you seen the library of free assets that they have?
No.
Yeah, it's
So,
big.
do you remember Paragon?
Vaguely. I never
Yeah,
played
so-
it, but I remember what it was, and I heard
Yeah,
about
it was
it
like
and all
it
that
was
stuff.
like the MOBA that Epic made, and they were like, "This is going to be our next big thing," and nobody played it because it wasn't great.
Right.
They sunk a lot of money into it, and they realized, like, hey, it's not good. But you know what we're going to do? We're going to take every single asset from Paragon, and we're going to make it free to use for anybody.
Sure. Right. Uh-huh.
Like, every single asset, you can use it in your video game for free. Like, that's amazing. It is so cool. It is so... They just said, you know what? All these assets, here you go. Make what you want with it.
Yeah.
And, like, assets of that quality generally cost hundreds of dollars to use in your project for licensing fees.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
And I have definitely looked at assets previously online because I have projects to do, and man, they can get really up there for the higher quality ones.
Mm-hmm.
But like the fact that they just offer them for free is they're good boys. I'm very happy with all of the development over at Unreal. I'm very excited.
Plus, if you want to go and learn Unreal, you can just kind of go download it and learn it. Like, and they publish a bunch of like resources and stuff like that. It's hard not to respect them in that regard, and they get a lot of shit because one, they own Fortnite, which
Yeah.
gets them a lot of hate. Because people are like, I hate Fortnite. It's like, cool, don't play it. It's like, yeah, but you make it. It's like, yeah, don't play it if you don't like it. Like,
Cool. You know what game I don't like?
What's
The
that?
original Marathon.
The fuck?
Marathon was a game made by Bungie.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Marathon was essentially Doom. It was basically the first Halo game. They made a couple marathons. They're not bad games. I don't particularly enjoy them. And that's
Makes sense.
and you know what? Doesn't mean that I hate Bungie because I don't like one of their games. Crazy.
Or say the current season of Destiny.
Oh man. This quest. Oh man.
Yeah, I have like zero interest in Destiny right now. I haven't touched it. That's not true. I booted up for like a few hours, like a couple weeks ago, just because I was like so bored. I didn't know what else to play. I was like, yeah, I'll think around a Destiny for a bit. And like, I don't know. I just not interested in it right now. And like the community has always kind of boggled my fucking mind, and I'm kind of sick of it.
Community is being the community is
The community
See,
in
you
Destiny
know exactly
has
what I'm
always
talking
been
about too, though, and I'm just like I'm exhausted from it, and I'm tired of it. It's exhausting to deal with. Where it's like
the big thing right now is people are complaining about weapon sunsetting, and
I get that. I get that all
Here's the thing.
games have negative sides of the community, but Destiny's is always like
Destiny's has always been kind of rampant and vocal.
it's unbelievably exhausting.
The other thing is that the whole weapon sunsetting thing, it needs to happen. The problem is that, and I agree with Professor Broman, who pointed this out on stream, this sunsetting thing that people are pissed about, it's not new. They did something extremely similar in Destiny 1,
And
when they
people
weren't
were
allowing you to-
fucking furious.
you know, and they didn't let people carry forward stuff all the time. But the thing is, with an MMO where you're constantly introducing new content, you have to do this to make people play at the new content, because they need to. One of the things they need to do is chase new shit,
Right.
because that's how you create a game loop. But if you let them carry forward their old shit, then you're not going to chase the new shit unless
Right.
the new shit is completely broken. And
And
you
then
can't
they
have that
have-
level of power creep
yeah.
over and over again, because it becomes a problem, which is something I see in another game I play, Magic the Gathering. There's a massive amount of power creep that's happened, and it's a problem.
see, okay,
So
I literally yesterday had this comparison of what Bungie is essentially doing with weapon sunsetting is what Hearthstone did when they introduced Wild and Standard, where everything that is not a pinnacle piece of content is Wild. You can use any weapon, and you can use all of your fun gear, and you can have insane levels of power. And then pinnacle stuff is Standard, it is cold weapons, it is cold armor, so that you have you have a smaller selection that isn't necessarily overpowered as hell.
Yeah.
Because the problem is, if you just keep introducing stuff, then all of a sudden I have this spare rations with snapshot multi-kill clip, but why would I ever pick up a new hand cannon if it doesn't have better perks than that exact role? So then Bungie has to create a better gun. Now my hand cannon is better than that, and I will never get another one until there's one better.
Right.
And it just keeps scaling and scaling and scaling, and it doesn't work. And one of the arguments I saw was somebody was complaining about weapon sunsetting, and then in the same breath, they complained that they have only used Recluse Mountaintop and Anarchy for the past year and said that they were tired of it. And the lack of self-awareness was like...
Yeah, it's like people are complaining, it's like, there's no new guns to play. It's like, well, stop using these ones, but these are the most powerful guns. It's like, then we need to get rid of them. It's like, I don't want you to get rid of my guns. Look, you can't...
You're not even getting rid of them. It's just saying you can't use it in the newest content.
Yeah, and another issue with that I don't like one issue that they're going to have is two separate PvP metas. One for regular PvP and then one for Trials and Iron Banner, and it's going to be weird.
Fine. That's not actually a bad thing. I mean, it creates
I disagree,
differential between the two.
But
it's a way to help separate the Pinnacle PvP things out.
Sure, I
don't even think that,
but
like, PvP shouldn't be balanced the same as PvE anyways to begin with. They should be two separate systems for balancing wise. It's just Bungie doesn't want to do that, which they've stated over and over again, which is why we have this problem.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of the reason we have the problem with weapons and armor and balancing is because they have to balance PvP with PvE. And because they want things to work the same and feel the same in the two modes, which is no one cares. Like, I don't care if my guns don't feel as strong in PvP because people are still going to die pretty quick because the time to kill in Destiny, not as low as, say, COD, is still not, like, insanely high.
Right.
So it's not like I'm going to feel like I can't kill someone with this gun I use a lot in PvE, and then that frees them up to do, over the top shit in PvE if they want to, all of Borderlands. Like, one of the reasons Borderlands gets away with doing some insane shit with weapons is they don't have to balance PvP content with it.
I honestly think what Destiny needs more than anything else is Destiny 3 to happen, and it doesn't feel like it's going to be anytime soon. And the reason I say that is because Destiny 2 was originally built as a token collection endgame, and they have still not recovered fully from that. It shows.
They built it as a simplified version of Destiny 1.
Yeah.
Which is the opposite direction that people wanted to go.
It needs like a reset. And
it does. They need a new game. They need
a new engine, please.
They need a new engine. They need to clear out everything. Everybody starts from zero. No bringing shit forward. Nothing.
New characters. Make my current Guardian die off and become some sort of hero in the beginnings of Destiny 3 somehow, and then we're just completely new Guardians. New world. Not new world, obviously, but you know what I mean.
Like, they could
completely
fresh. Just clean slate, fresh roll. They need to add in more RPG elements. They need skill trees that are varied and have actual choices and meaningful choices at that. Not this, here's your things you get if you choose this branch, right? It has to be, I make these choices so I can build and customize my character so I feel different from everybody else.
Yep.
I enjoyed making my own builds in Destiny 1.
Yep.
I did, and I wanted to see 2 to 3 times the amount of choices, and then they went the exact opposite direction of that.
Yep.
No, you had 2 choices.
And, so I want like a bunch of choices for my character where I can build this character out. I want to have more perks on armor and weapons. Like, give me 10 times the perks. Make it so that there's so much choice and variance that I can keep grinding for these different combinations. And sure, some of them will be crap, and some of them will be kind of god roll and broken. Then, if you want to do PvP still, because it's still an active, element for the game, separate the balancing between those two things. They do not need to be the same. Like, well, why are they the same? No other game makes these the same. Why are you doing it? It's like, because you want stuff to feel the same? Your players don't care about that. They want a power fantasy in PvE, and they want fair, balanced competitive combat in PvP. Those are not the same things.
Right.
Like, you can't do both together properly.
I don't care about fair, balanced, competitive combat. Just give me Rift back. Thank you.
Yeah, that too. Give me something in PvP that is not just, a all out, we kill each other, get points, or I'm doing this thing to cap a point, right? Like, I don't want to stand in a place, cap a point, and deathmatch. Those are pretty much what we have in Destiny right now, or we have a couple other modes where it's like, the whole bomb defusal thing that nobody likes.
Listen,
So-
I like that mode. I just it's not great for Destiny, and it doesn't work on the maps.
It's bad map design, bad map implementation, and there's bad mode. Like, they put the modes together wrong. Some of the modes take way too long. They should be shorter. There's no reason for them not to be shorter.
Countdown shouldn't be 6 rounds long.
No, it shouldn't. Why is it 6 rounds? Why isn't it 3? Like, it's
should
twice
be-
as long as
should
it
be
as it could
3 or
be.
4 to win max.
Yes,
Yeah.
3. Like, best of 3. First person to get 2 wins. Bam, easy. It's
I
fair.
feel like
I-
that's too short.
I feel like best of 5, so you'd have to hit 3 wins.
Yeah,
I think that would
I'm
be-
down for best of 5. That feels right, because that's what Siege does, and that feels
Rather
good.
than having to win 6.
Well, I
Oh
would
my
make it. I would probably do. For that one, I would probably do 2 modes. I would do a competitive mode where it's best of 5, and then a
Yeah, but then you
non-competitive
have
version
the
where it's best
issue
of.
where you add too many modes, you split the community up too much.
Well, here's the thing though. If you have competitive modes and non-competitive modes, you're already splitting the player base. Because you're going to have people who only want to play competitive mode stuff and people who don't want to play competitive mode stuff, right? And the people who don't want to play competitive will never play competitive, no
Yeah,
matter what you do,
I agree, but
right?
having
But if you have to give those people who just want to play whatever access to those other things, and they may not want to play a mode where it's I have to play against these same people till I get 5 wins. That's going to turn them off because that's too long for a casual player.
Here, so I just want to point out my issue that I've been dealing with recently. So I have been playing Valorant. I very much enjoy Valorant.
Valorant,
Have they
you
changed
have to,
it yet? Because it struck me as really long, the matches.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm getting to that. Valorant matches are best of 25.
Yeah,
that's nuts. That's how
for a
Counter Strike runs.
competitive mode.
That's how Counter Strike.
It is how Counter Strike runs, which
Yeah.
based
It's
on
so
how they built this
long.
game, it makes
So
sense.
long.
That's their starting point, but they need to
Right.
pare that down.
Yeah.
It's
So
too long. It's
for
too
the
long even to
competitive
watch.
For competitive matches, 25 is totally fine.
Yes.
I'm totally okay with it.
Yes.
When I go to a quick play, when I go to an unranked match, I kind of want to be able to hop in, play, get better, learn, whatever, try out new ops and stuff. And you load in sometimes and you just get stuck for an hour. And it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I love Valorant. It's very fun, but I want a quick play that's like best of 10.
Do they have
Like
lever
that.
penalties as well?
Yes, they actually just increased lever penalties.
That's even worse. You can't do that with quick play stuff. You can't make it so long that people get fatigued playing a single match,
Right.
and then
literally I can't
you know-
stream it because I'll sit down, I'll play a match of it, and I need to like stand up afterwards and go for a walk.
Yeah,
It's just it can be exhausting.
that's too long. Those are way too long. Those matches. That's not cool.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
I like the game a lot too. It's sometimes you don't have the stamina. And that's sometimes just how it is. But hey, you know what else nobody has the stamina for?
What's that?
9 million public events.
God damn it. Yeah. Good job, Bungie.
As I told Comfy earlier, while you were gone, Dale.
Yeah.
Before we started,
Oh, wait.
think
Quick
I think they set that number before the season started. I
Oh
think
my
that was
God.
always.
Yeah.
I think that was always in place, and I think they didn't think to change it because I think it probably slipped somebody's mind that maybe they should adjust this. They thought
Because-
maybe, okay, we'll leave it here and see if people can do it,
Is it because
then it-
not as many people are playing right now? Is that why?
because people are not playing right now at all.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
I want to point out that they increased the amount that you progress by 10 times, and we still haven't finished it yet.
Yep.
Unreal.
And there are 4 weeks left in the season when they dropped this. So if they didn't increase it, it wouldn't have gotten completed.
They increased it, and then it's actually increased higher, I think, during the weekends.
Yeah, so it's 5 times during weekdays and 10 times during weekends.
Which
Over
was
the past 48 hours, we've gotten almost 6 million total.
Yep.
Which is
so because weekends being their prime playtime for their biggest for people, right? Because they have more free time and stuff like that.
And the 10 times modifier on top of that is just
if you look at the fact that people tend to have more free time right now because there's a lot of people who are at home, and that the population has dropped. Can you imagine how far the population count would be if things were normal in real life? Like people were still working the same amount and people weren't home as much. Like
honestly,
like that would be really bad.
Like, actually, I think the numbers would probably be higher. Reason being, people have more time to spend in Destiny right now, so they got done with everything extremely quickly and got very fatigued with the season very quickly. So people that would have
probably helped out with fatigue. I think the numbers would probably be lower overall. I'm pretty sure. I don't think they'd be higher than they are now. I think they'd, if anything, Bungie might be in a worse spot, but they're not in a good spot right now. I am super curious to see what they're going to be coming out with.
They've said some good things in the previous twabs. I'm interested to see where things are going. It seems like they're listening, but only time will tell. So I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I just want to know what September is.
Yeah, I hope
there needs to be
something
in September.
There's got to be something. They've got to fix PvE. They've got to fix PvP. I don't think there's a good spot in the game. It's just we need more stuff. We need stuff to chase, and we need a reason to chase it. Sunsetting will help because people will need new weapons and armor, but that's a short-term fix because it's not going to take people long to get geared up. We're not getting the weapon bounty stuff back. Like I don't think we're going to be getting seasonal weapons.
Right.
I think they're moving to the new engram system where you can, play whatever, earn engrams for the new stuff. Cool. Awesome. An untried system is right now difficult to get people to believe in.
Right.
Because people are very jaded right now. So it's like, we're trying this thing. It's like, well, this other stuff you've tried hasn't worked. Why should the fifth time be the charm? Right? So,
my only response to that is they're trying something different because the other things didn't work.
Yes, that is the one thing I will.
Same thing.
Yes, the one thing I will give Bungie is that they are willing to try new things.
Right.
The problem being is that they are also willing to try new things when they don't need to try new things, resulting in them altering things that people like and wanted to stay.
Yeah, that you're absolutely right about that. There have been multiple times. I can't think of one off the top of my head. I just remember Backlash, though.
Well, there's the whole change to classes and how they work. The class 3 stuff.
Oh,
There's the whole
weapon slot
double,
changes.
Yep, the whole double primary thing. Like, nobody asked for that. Nobody wanted that.
The raid mechanic changes so that there was tokens for rezzing and only 30 seconds before wipe if somebody died.
Yes.
Which was
I don't mind that change. It makes raids more challenging, but it also makes it harder to do LFG raids.
That change was the most boneheaded possible decision for the Leviathan. Because of the gauntlet.
Yes, the gauntlet makes that more difficult.
That alone makes that mechanic stupid. And that's my big thing,
now,
is that
if the whole token thing was part of, you know, a tier of raids. Like, here's the basic tier. There's no tokens.
Hard
Here's
mode,
the next-
like hard mode had tokens, and then
Yeah,
like,
if there's like a hard mode
that
that, yeah, it's like here's this, you know, hard mode. It's got tokens, and then you have a mode above it, like, you know, where there's no reses at all. Someone dies, they're dead, right? Like you can,
like
they're
OG
raids.
hard mode.
You can tier the things and give out better rewards based on the tier.
Yeah,
And that'll also allow more people to access the raid as well, because it would be easier to put together an LFG group, especially a learning group, if you don't have to worry about having like rezzing for people and not being able to res somebody, right? Because less
Right.
like stuff like that.
are you
So,
saying that we should have like an LFR style rating experience similar to World of Warcraft?
I think that there's no reason for Bungie not to have an LFG system in game when they have existed in game since like Phantasy Star. So if, you know, I can point to a game that is super old now and go, this game had it, there's no reason why your current game should not have that system if it's in the same vein of game
Right.
where that system worked, right?
Yeah.
I hope they fix it. I love Destiny. I love the franchise. You know, the devs are great people, so I hope they fix this, like, and
Yeah,
you know, do something. Like, I pretty much played, I don't even think I've got 4 hours in Destiny this season. Like, I have it currently uninstalled on my computer because I made room to install other games and play those instead. So
yeah. Sometimes that's
You
what
know?
you got to do. I've been barely playing this season.
Yeah.
The past 2 days is the most I've played, and it's because yesterday I logged on because I was like, hey, you know what? I haven't gotten Point of the Stag yet, the pinnacle weapon from the Iron Banner. That is only available this season, and if you don't have it by Tuesday, you're never going to be able to get it. I got it in 3 hours.
What is that? Is that the bow?
that's the bow.
Oh, I did
Was it-
actually get that.
What's the bow do? Like, is there a
It's
reason
just
to
a
chase the
fucking
bow?
bow. It does
Yeah,
like
it got
It's just a bow.
You
yeah.
got Vorpal weapon on it, which is really good. It destroys supers in Crucible. It's really good against bosses, but it's a bow.
It's
Yeah.
a bow.
And bows need to be reworked to be viable because at
Yep.
this point they're not.
We
Yeah, it's the problem is not enough damage to a long of a draw time. You can't hold the arrow long enough and it has damage drop off the longer you hold them. They're an issue.
Bows should be special weapons that out damage snipers.
not with primary
Yeah.
ammo.
That's why
That's
it's
why they
special.
special. Yeah.
Oh,
they
oh
should-
yeah.
should-
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
There-
they
I
should
like
they should
having-
only be appearing like in special and heavy. Like there should
gotcha.
be those
Make-
two places.
I'd be down.
Like, yeah, because here's the thing: is a bow requires draw time, so you need to have prediction. It requires just as much aiming as a sniper, if not more, because you have projectile time.
Yeah.
And then
And you
hit
can
the
give them
headshot.
less, like you can give them less functional range as well, like
Yeah,
if you really
make 'em-
want to, like make them a mid-range weapon.
But
So-
what you can do is make them do the current headshot damage on body shot, make them a headshot one hit with compounds at least. And then there you go. Like, you have a viable weapon in PvP that is good for mid to long range combat with prediction. You can still get outclassed by a sniper who's playing better than you, but if you play it right, you win the fight.
Yep.
Versus I had to use the bow for the quest, and it was just infuriating because someone with a sniper outplayed me every single time.
Oh yeah, you have to use it for the quest. Yeah, that's,
You need to get- I did fine. I got all the kills in like one game. It really wasn't that bad because bows are fun. They're actually good, but they're not good enough to be viable.
Yeah.
So
Now we
Feels
do
bad.
need to figure out what we're watching next week.
yes.
we do.
Yep.
I have not thought of anything. Does anybody have like? Is there anything anybody wants to watch? They've heard of that, like chat has thrown at them from whenever. I don't even know if we have a new anime season starting soon.
What's the most cursed show I can think of right now?
That.
I mean, we have spring.
Oh wait, we haven't watched Sing Yesterday for Me yet.
Sing yesterday. Why does that ring a bell?
It is a currently airing anime. I've heard it is very, very good.
Sing yesterday.
Seeing it, yes.
I'm
Is that right? Is that title right?
I'm assuming that's the English name.
Let me. It's on Crunchy. I can find it really quick. Give me
Okay.
a moment. Seen yesterday for me.
Sing yesterday for me. Okay.
It is on Crunchyroll.
About.
Story of love and humanity following 4 boys and girls trying to live their best lives through hardship and turmoil. Yeah. Story of daily life lived 49% looking back, 51% looking forward. High reviews. I've heard really good things about it. A slice of life show.
Okay. Yeah, I figured with the name it was a slice of life show.
Yeah.
That's
So I've heard good things about that. If it's a bad show, it wasn't my suggestion. As is tradition.
Right.
it is highly rated. So
Sure. I don't care.
yeah, that's fine.
So yeah, next week we will watch Sing Yesterday for me.
Yep.
What a name.
So is there anything you guys are going to be up to this week? Specific?
I have stuff for Paul to do.
Copper's working.
I have more stuff on that animated project I have to finish off. Thing for Vlad, thing for Dad, thing for someone that Comfy knows, who used to be a mod for Comfy, actually, I think. I don't know if he still is or not.
Just whisper me a name because I'm interested now.
Let me check. Instagram is Caleb. Used to go by Malo.
That one, the Malo dude.
Yes. So I do a thing for them.
That's
And
awesome. I'll have to message him about that because he texted me at like 1 a.m. saying I started watching Tower of God and didn't sleep. So.
And then I've got a thing to finish off for a Playboy bunny.
Ooh woo.
An ooh.
Comfy did not hear about this one yet.
No.
Please give me huggy wuggies, ooh woo.
God damn it.
Okay, Comfy, are you in Shark's Discord?
I'm not.
Okay. Because I don't want to drop this in your.
You can DM me.
I know. Hold on. Link. See? Here, this is the person I'm working with. So she put out a thing on Twitter the other day. And it's like, I'm looking for a couple hours to do stuff. So I'm like, all right, cool. You have like 430,000 followers, which is, a good marketing opportunity. So plus, they have previously spoken out about paying artists and stuff like that. So I'm like, so I dropped my name in a hat and then I got a DM like 2 minutes later.
Nice.
So now I'm doing some work for them. So, which is interesting.
Huh.
And
Super
Addison really likes the link that I show you as well. But yeah, so it's an interesting market segment because it's not what I typically work with. Because they, it's like OnlyFans and stuff like that. But she's also looking at coming onto Twitch, or rather back to Twitch because she used to stream. I think the last time was like over a year ago. But they want to get like back into it and do more of that type of stuff. So it's a market segment where there's a lot of money in that market. And one thing I've noticed pretty much from everybody who's independent in that market, save a few people, they don't brand very well. Like they've not branded themselves very well. They don't do a lot of merchandise stuff, like all that stuff. So it's an interesting thing to get into because if I can advise people and stuff, one, I can make a good bit of money from helping them, and it can definitely increase the revenue because these people, a lot of them have huge amounts of social reach, and if you've ever heard of the 1,000 true fan theory, a lot of these people have those many fans at least now, like who will buy whatever they put out. So it's people not capitalizing and stuff properly. But that's what we'll be working on this week. I mean,
yeah, I'm gonna
hopefully
be
some games like.
I'm gonna be streaming. I don't know what I'm gonna be playing, but
I'll be doing some ESO and throwing in some variety stuff.
I'll finish this Destiny public event thing and then not touch the game till the season ends because this quest is gonna be dope, and then I'm gonna be done.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be a big thing. I think once that thing is done, I think
when the quest
people are
drops,
thinking down.
I am one of the people who reads spoilers about lore because I need to know all the time. I know the quest line, and I'm very excited.
Ooh, you could. I would be down to know that actually.
Do you want me to just like whisper you some, or like DM you some information on it?
Yeah, that'd be cool actually, because then I don't have to actually play it, and then I can know what's going on.
I mean, you do get Winter's Life for completing it, which is going to be the top tier shotgun in the game because it has shot package.
I don't care.
Yeah, see, that's the reason I'm not doing that quest is because although the lore would be cool, I have no interest in the shotgun because I don't use shotguns.
Right.
So I'm like,
I do, just because I remember the days of shot package in Destiny 1 being just the most terrible, evil thing in the world. And
it's a completely broken perk. Then I think they're going to regret bringing back.
Oh, absolutely. Dude, like the week before it was leaked, like that it was on the gun, I was talking about shot package and how it was like one of the most broken things ever, and they had to remove it to make the game balanced.
Yeah, like if you have to take something out of the game because it's completely unbalanced, you can't bring that back into the game without changing it.
They'll probably change it somehow.
It's either not going to be super good or it's going to get nerfed very quickly. So
we'll see.
We'll see. But hey, is that it? Is that about all we got?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
The show.
I mean,
That was it's a good week.
That's the show, folks. Comfy, where can they find your shenanigans on the internet?
You can find my shenanigans at mixer.com/Comfamous. You can find my tweets at Twitter at Comfamous, and hopefully I'll be back on Twitch again this week at twitch.tv/Comfamous.
Oh, are you gonna be?
I keep wanting to do the split streams, but my scheduling's been really messed up recently, so I'm gonna try to make a push for it this week.
Yeah, I just ripped the Band-Aid off. I don't fuck around with. Anyway,
I think eventually people are not gonna have a choice. I think mixers and some issues. So
all right.
But that's a
Hey
whole
Copper, where can people find you at?
You can find me online at Copperline Art and Copperline Designs on Twitter and Instagram, or Copperline Art. It's copperlinedesigns.com. I am currently pretty booked until probably the end of next month by look at things right now.
Hard or soft cover? Words are hard.
But if you're looking for something, and you can wait till like, July or August, definitely hit me up. And I should be having that conversation, that roundtable conversation that we're going to be recording and putting out with some other artists. Should be happening soon.
You're going to be doing that with who? Who now? I forget.
So the people, most people probably know are Salty Cat. He's super part of the Destiny art community.
Right. Okay.
And basically is the person who organized the Destiny art community. And the other big name that people know offhand is Rotting Jackhole. But there's a few other artists from different areas who are like illustrators and things like that as well.
Cool.
Just so we cover kind of the different bases. Now we're going to go over things such as how to spot red flags when dealing with an artist, how to spot red flags when dealing with clients, because that's a big one. There's some clients out there who are good and great clients, and then there's people who just don't know how the industry works, and you need to educate them a bit on stuff. And then there's your nightmare clients who are just awful people to work with.
Like me.
Often get hit with things like the asshole tax, as it's typically called in the industry.
Yep, because
2 to
In a
4 times as much for a job as somebody else would be.
Yep.
Because nobody wants to deal with them.
There's lots of people that are like, hey, look, the bad.
Yeah, and sometimes even the asshole tax is not worth it. And when you're dealing with those people, you always need a contract. It's like, I get this much up front, it's not refundable, and I have the option to kill the project if it goes off rails. And there's so much stuff you have to put into a contract with asshole clients that, like, with a good client, you don't even need a contract. It's just here's how it works for payments, and they're good and fine. And then the exact opposite for some asshole people. So,
Yep.
And kind of how to spot them, how to protect yourself as a client, how to protect yourself as an artist. There's a lot of topics we're probably going to go over. So.
And when did you say you were going to be doing this? And is it going to be like streamed or is it podcast?
I don't know if they're streaming it. We're going to be recording it. So it's going to be put out on I think there's a podcast it's going to go out onto and YouTube, but I'll get links for that when it goes up and out kind of thing, and let people know where they can find it, because it is going to be some good information people are going to need.
Cool. Cool.
So I think it's next weekend, I think, is when we're doing this.
Yeah.
I think, or sometime next week. It's the issue is getting everybody together time wise, because we're all over North America and stuff. So
yeah.
Time
zones are stupid.
Yeah,
time zones are one hell of a drug.
Yeah.
Well, when you're like 4 hours and more, I think one guy's in Germany. So.
Oof. Yeah.
Oh wow, that is. Yeah.
So there's some big time zone differences, right?
I mean, yeah, half my friends live in the EU, and one of them, or a few of them, live in Australia. So like,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We got everything. Hey Dale, where can people find you?
You can find me at twitch.tv/Mr. Vengeance TV, as well as Mr. Vengeance TV on Twitter and Instagram, doing all kinds of stuff. Hoping to start uploading more like shop projects on Instagram. I meant to record a bunch of shit yesterday and kind of do a story again like I did the weekend before, but I was frustrated and I didn't do it because I wasted my whole morning hunting for a thing that I never found.
That's always fun.
Yep, but that's it. We'll see you guys next. We'll see you guys next week for. What was it again? Sing to me tomorrow?
Sing yesterday for me.
Sing yesterday for me. All right. We'll see you guys then. Bye.
Bye.